this a new way. I'm gonna show you the tricks that I know. I'm getting tired of talking, and I need more of a show right now. It's time that you made your mind up, 'cause lately all it ever does is change. Feels like we're only talking, going round and around, back around. I will fight like no other every day. I won't stop like the others. I will stay. 'Cause now is the right time, and I'm feeling alright. I'm playing your game like I know I can win right now. You got me on tonight, 'cause loving you is like I'm walking a tightrope so high. I won't be turning around, no, I won't be turning around. It's the right time, you feeling alright. I'm playing your game like I will win tonight. I think I'll do it on my way. I'm gonna show you what I'm going through, get you out of your comfort zone, 'cause I need more of the truth right now. It's time that you made your mind up, 'cause lately all it ever does is change. Feels like we're only talking, going round and around, back around. I will fight like no other every day. I won't stop like the others. I will stay. 'Cause now is the right time, and I'm feeling alright. I'm playing your game like I know I can win right now. You got me on tonight, 'cause loving you is like I'm walking a tightrope so high. try this a new way.
I think we're working. Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word. I don't know what was happening there, but my audio was just not kicking in for some reason. A quick reboot sorted that one out. It's all sorted. It's fine. We are away. Might sound a little bit different because obviously the software I usually use for the microphone is not working. So I don't know if I will sound different. If you're massively anal, you might notice it, but I probably wouldn't. Hope you're all okay. Final qualifying of the 2020 season. I was thinking about this last night. I am so confused. I am so confused. This year has dragged so much, but at the same time, it has gone really quickly. I can't believe it's the end of the season. I can't understand how a year can drag so much and be over so quickly simultaneously, if you know what I mean. So really confused today, but it is the final race of the season, final ever qualifying Watchalong as well. So bit of a day, and of course we're back with the race reaction tomorrow for Abu Dhabi. It is Abu Dhabi, not everybody's favourite Grand Prix of the year. I think it's fairly reasonable to say, but, you know, it's a race. And if I'd have offered you 17 Abu Dhabi races back in May, you'd probably all have taken them because we just wanted to see some racing. But before we talk too much about this afternoon and qualifying, we're about 12 minutes away from that one. Let's have a look at FP3 this morning. Max Verstappen topping the standings with a 136.2 on a soft tyre. 16 laps for him. Alex Albon in second place. Half a second, though, behind his teammate. Get the feeling, as much as I'd love to see 2 Red Bulls and 2 Renaults in the top 4, that Mercedes will be right up there again in qualifying. That's my bold prediction for the day. Ricciardo third, Ocon fourth, Norris in fifth place, 7/10 covering the top 5. Lewis Hamilton in sixth place, 7/10 off. Lance Stroll in 7th, Carlos Sainz 8th, and Valtteri Bottas 9th, with Sergio Perez down in 10th. Daniel Kvyat 11th, Charles Leclerc in 12th, 13th for Gasly, 14th for Seb Vettel, 15th for Russell, 16th for Giovinazzi, 17th for Raikkonen, 18th for Magnussen, 19th for Latifi, and 20th for Fittipaldi. Things to note going into this session, first of all, final races with their teams for Ricciardo. I was going to say Albon, but we don't know, do we, what's going on there? I assume he's staying, but question mark over him for next year. But Ricciardo is moving on from Renault to go to McLaren. Sainz is off to Ferrari to replace Vettel, who's in his last race with Ferrari. We've got Magnussen in his final race, probably Fittipaldi's final race as well. We're losing Fiat from the grid. It's one of those days. Loads still to go over. Yes. Oh, I can't believe it's the final race of the season. I'm a little bit I suppose we all are, really. Just a little bit surprised. I'm just sorting a few things out. Bear with me. Trying to do 2 things at once. But yeah, just a little bit surprised at how quickly this year's gone, given everything that we had earlier in the year and how much it dragged. But a few people saying the mic's a little bit quiet. I'll see if I can sort that out for you. By a few, I say like 2. But yeah, what we're looking forward to this weekend. We'll do predictions in that in a few minutes. Obviously, we'll head over to the Watch on screen shortly as well. But yeah, I'm pretty much... I'm just looking forward to seeing cars. I think that's what it is, because I know that we've got quite a long wait until the next race, which will be, at the moment, scheduled for the end of March. So obviously quite a way to go. So I'm just looking forward to sitting back, enjoying watching the cars on track, and hopefully, we'll get a good race. I'm quite cautious. I'm trying not to say it, but I don't predict Abu Dhabi is going to be an absolute ruddy thriller because I can't really... Last year's race was okay. We've had some okay races in Abu Dhabi, but I can't ever remember an absolute belter. So I'm not really massively optimistic for some great racing. But as I say, back in May, we all probably said the same. Any racing would do. So yeah, quite a bit up for grabs as well this weekend. We've got third in the constructors still to be decided. 3 teams still in it. Mathematically, Ferrari could, but they'd need a 1-2. With the other teams I think basically not scoring, so that's not going to happen. But Racing Point at third in the Constructors, they've got a 10-point cushion over McLaren, and then Renault are 22 back from Racing Point. So it's probably realistically between Racing Point and McLaren, but there's a couple of curveballs to throw into this one. Well, first of all, based on this morning's pace, Renault look pretty rapid, and Sergio Perez for Racing Point, whatever he does today, will be starting from the back of the grid. Now, normally, you'd probably turn around and say, well, that's bloody terrible. Renault have got a great shot here, so have McLaren, it's an open goal. But just bear in mind that Sergio Perez won the last race from the back of the field, so it's more than possible he can come through and score some very decent points, and that's exactly what Racing Point will be looking for. But I suspect we'll see a lot less overtaking tomorrow, and also it's probably not going to be as chaotic as the last race. Anybody else still trying to recover from that phenomenal result of the old Sergio Perez last time out? I still can't quite believe he won that one. Keep pinching myself. The pictures are all there to look at, but I'm still not quite sure how that one's happened. So I'll play back with the audio, by the way, for those just saying it's a little bit quiet as I'm chatting away, but still can't quite get over that he achieved that. But massive congratulations to Sergio Perez. And I believe Charles Leclerc comes into this weekend with the 3-place grid drop as well for wiping Sergio Perez out in turn 4, wasn't it, in Sakir. So he's got a 3-place grid drop as well. I've not seen any other penalties, but I'll be honest, I've not played a massive or paid a massive amount of attention to practice, as I never do for Abu Dhabi, because it's got 2 practice sessions, FP1 and FP3, which are completely irrelevant, and then FP2 you've only got an hour and a half where you don't really see. We saw quite a bit of running, but then we had a disrupted session, and it's not really totally representative. So I'm quite looking forward to this. If you all knows going to this session, I think you'd be bold to go with anybody other than a Mercedes for pole, because this is a Mercedes track. They've locked out. I forgot. I think they've taken the last 5 or 6 pole positions at the track. So definitely the favourites. No doubt about that whatsoever. Hopefully that'll turn that up a little bit. But yeah, Ted Kravitz in the pits at the moment. Going to miss Ted, as I always do. But yeah, I'm a little bit lost today, because I think we've got to give massive props to Formula One, to Liberty Media, really, to the FIA for getting this season. I said it in the preview, not just up and running, but to keep the season going and to get 17 races in and complete it. For all the criticism that I gave them back in Australia, and many people did for the way they handled all of that, I actually think that we should be giving them just as much praise for actually getting this season done. It's absolutely remarkable. And I said it, and a lot of you replied actually in the comments to the preview. How many back in May genuinely believe we'd see 17 races this season? I know a lot of people thought we'd maybe see 8. The comments seem to be saying sort of 12 to 14 would have been a really good season. And there are actually a lot of people that thought we would see no racing whatsoever. So to cram in 17 races in what is basically what feels like about 3 days is actually quite spectacular. 14 different venues as well, because of course we have the 2 races in Austria, 2 at Silverstone, 2 in Bahrain. So 14 tracks, if you like, or 14 venues, 15 different. It's just, yeah, wow. Well done to F1 for getting that one done and for giving us a season and giving us something to smile about. And it's been what a season it's been as well. It's, yeah, the championships, fine, whatever. They were pretty much done by the time the checkered flag fell in Styria. But, you know, we knew which way they were going. They were going to Mercedes. But when you actually look at the races for what they are and just ignore the championship, it's been absolutely incredible. And the opening race in Austria was phenomenal. Think right back to that. Great race in Portugal. Fantastic race in Turkey. Some good racing at the Nürburgring. Monza springs to mind as well as another epic race. Sakir was fantastic. It's just been a great season. And a few people saying it was the best season of the turbo hybrid era. I'm not sure I go that far. It's certainly been the most open, I would say, in terms of the field as a whole. Not, again, like I say, with the championships, but we go into this final race not knowing who's got that 3rd spot, and I'm loving this. I'm absolutely loving it. And it's kind of gutting that this season is coming to a close, but at the same time, I'm hoping next year, you know, maybe some fans back at circuits, once the first few races are underway, maybe we can get them in the first few races and things will be a bit more back to normal next year. It won't be back to normal, but a bit closer to it, and things will feel a bit more normal. And I'm quite confident next year Red Bull are going to be a little bit quicker, but I think I'm just trying to, if it wasn't Ferrari, I think we've all been saying Red Bull will be up there in hope more than expectation every winter, haven't we? So lots of time to talk about that over the next few months. But just enjoy this one. That's what I'm going to say. I don't, I'm going to try and stay positive. Even though for the third time it is Abu Dhabi, I'm going to try and stay positive in this stream, and we're just going to sit back, nice and relaxed, just enjoy the last qualifying session of the season. Of course, the race tomorrow for the final. I'm excited. Let's just do some predictions. That is the best thing I could do. I did midfield predictions in midweek, so we now know Lewis Hamilton is racing this weekend. He's obviously at Mercedes. George Russell, bless him, going back down to Williams for the weekend. I'm gonna go Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen in qualifying, but I think possibly the race might be different, but we'll do that one a little bit later. So Mercedes front row lockout. I'll pop my headphones on while you're putting your predictions in. That's what I'm going to go with. That's what I'm doing. I'm being bold. A Mercedes front row lockout. I can't wait. Findlay saying, but what's replacing Vietnam? That's a good question, actually. We don't know yet, do we? But I think that the options are still currently Turkey. I think Portugal's been mentioned, and Imola was the last I'd read, but that was a while ago. So they were the three that were kind of favourites then. But I mean, I wouldn't mind maybe pushing China back a week and doing a second race in Bahrain around that outer loop. I wouldn't mind doing that if they did a Vietnam replacement. I'm sure China won't be happy with losing their slot, but I'd quite fancy that one. I'd go Turkey. I'd quite like to go back to Turkey again. Once the track's rubbered in, it's a bit less chaotic, definitely. So, yes. Ben Roberts has gone with Bottas, Hamilton, Verstappen. Danny A26 has gone Max, Albon, Russell. Ricardo Sainz, Stroll, 4-6, obviously, says Ava. Charles has gone with George, Q3. That's a bold call. Looking good for Q2 based on this morning's pace. Seamus, sorry, chat was taking a minute to update there. Seamus, Hamilton, Verstappen, Albon. A couple of people loving the outer loop there. Increasing rumours about Sepang, says Frankie. I'd love that, Frankie. Oh, Frankie, don't come in here saying that. I would love that. That'd be incredible. Pole for Bottas, says Scott. Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen, Leclerc, says Herschel. And Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas for Rince as well. I'll read some of your predictions throughout this session because it's going to be absolutely fascinating. Let's go to the watch on screen. Let's do all this bit. Say it with me for the final time this season. There is no on-track footage in this stream for obvious copyright reasons. It's the law and all that business. Live timing, provided by Planet F1. Thank you so much to those guys for stepping in again this weekend. And updates provided by my gob. How good am I? Watch your Sky Sports F1 for anybody wondering. The timing, by the way, does take, as I said last week, about 30 seconds to update, based sort of compared to the official live timings and the Sky TV. So if you're watching on Sky and the timings are a little bit behind or anything like that, don't worry. But as I said last week, if you wanted to find the timings, you just go watch them and not listen to me gobbing off all afternoon. So there you go. But that is a live timing. Thank you once again to Planet F1. If you are new to the channel, first of all, welcome. Please do drop a like on the video and do subscribe. Race reaction tomorrow and still content to come up over the winter. I'm not sure what content, by the way. I'm still torn as to whether to just take the rest of December off or to put some videos out over Christmas. I haven't decided yet. That'll be something I'd probably decide around Monday lunchtime. That's what I'm like on the day before a video is supposed to go out. That's just how I deal with things. I'm not very organised. You may have noticed, but there we go. First session about to get underway. We are about 2 minutes away from that one. And of course, the first session, 18 minutes. There'll be a timer in that on screen as well, which I'll sort out shortly. Piece of Cake says, love your channel, Sean. Thank you very much, Piece of Cake. Cool name, because I just love cake. So yeah, thank you for that one. Appreciate that one. Rain, yes, we can see your messages. No worries, we can see your messages, Rain. And yeah, you guys are sorting that one out. Max just saying the no race footage thing. We want Sepang, says Max as well. Albon pulled his finger out after complaining on the radio about understeer. Louis there's just saying about the understeer this morning. Alex Albon was really struggling. Said in his car it was understeer at just about every corner, and then went and stuck it in second place. So, is that his version of my tyres are gone, Bono? Maybe that's what he needs, an understeery car. There you go. Loving the rumours that F1 TV Pro might be coming to the UK next year. Can't wait if it's true. If that's true, Blackhawk, I'll be very excited for that. I'd be very excited for that. I'd much rather have that than like it's nothing against Sky because I think you get some of the Sky stuff over there anyway. But I'd much rather give my money directly to Formula One than give it to them through Sky. So I'm just weird. I know. I don't know. I believe we are just about green. Just waiting for the confirmation. Yes, it is. So we are green in this first practice session. We'll wait for the timer to kick in. And then we'll be ready to go. Lando Norris sat in the garage quite happily there, as you'd expect. Final race alongside Carlos Sainz, of course, before Daniel Ricciardo gets in that car next year. Looking forward to that lineup. That's going to be a fascinating dynamic. Like I keep saying, there's quite a few next year, and that's definitely one of them. If you hear a lot of noise, by the way, in the background, it's my PC is having a right moment because I'm trying to set a timer and it doesn't like me doing things for some reason. It's got this issue with me trying to do anything when I'm streaming, so apologies for that one. Absolutely. F1 TV will come with a Sky package so you can onboard channels and things like that, I believe, says Max. I think I've read something like that. Part of the Sky Q thing, like an app, like they've got for Disney Plus and that kind of thing. We're on Disney Plus. I've been streaming 15 minutes and we're on Disney Plus. What the hell is going on here? Stop it. I say 15 minutes, 23 minutes actually. But yeah, we'll see. Herschel says, has Lewis fully recovered or is he still feeling weak? He looks well. He says he's feeling well, so we shall see. I know with... my time is a little bit fast. I know with Lance Stroll, it took him quite a while to get over it, didn't it? So it may well be that there are some lingering side effects, but obviously everybody will handle it and recover from it differently. So we'll see. I wouldn't be at all surprised if he does sort of end up qualifying behind Bottas or anything like that today, because you know he's had a week off, but he probably would have had a week off anyway had we not had the Sakir Grand Prix. So yeah, I don't know. Fittipaldi's out there at the moment, as is Magnussen and Russell. Some nice install laps initially. Reconnaissance laps, maybe not. I don't know. They might go straight out for a fly, all on the softs. Softs, actually, yeah, the tyres this weekend are the softest. The 3, the 4, and the 5. C3, C4, C5. So no great surprise. A little bit later in the year, but temperatures about where they would be normally. So last year, I think the race took place on the 1st. So we're nearly a couple of weeks after that. Or it is a couple of weeks after that, isn't it? So there you go. But I think that's another thing that's quite weird this year is that we're still watching F1 and it's a week and a bit till Christmas, or a week and a half till Christmas just over. So that feels quite unusual. I must admit, used to Formula One being well finished by now, aren't we? So Magnussen looks like he's going to be first to set a lap time, so obviously doing purple sectors as you would expect. Last race, I'm going to miss K-Mag. I really, really am. I think he's... I've said it last week, I probably said it the week before as well. I think he's a bit of a dying breed. He doesn't take any nonsense, and he's a quick guy, much quicker than that car is allowing him to show. And I wrote some notes yesterday for a video that I might be recording. I'm thinking about doing one for each team, 5 minutes long, just reporting, just a quick little report on their seasons, as if somebody said to me, hey Sean, what do you think of Haas's season? And I just go on a waffle for 5 minutes. But I actually said in that one that I think Grosjean and Magnussen have done just about everything they could with that car this year, because the car is terrible. I actually think Haas have the slowest car on the grid at the moment. I genuinely believe that. But there you go. It's a tight one. Very tight between them, Alfa and Williams, but I think Haas have actually got the worst car at the moment. Russell's good, but I don't think he's making that much of a difference with it. I think Haas are in trouble. I think they'll probably be struggling next year as well. And looks like focusing on 2022. An interesting article on Race Fans if you haven't read it, as Magnussen goes quicker than Fittipaldi by 800ths of a second. So potentially good luck there for Fittipaldi. But Race Fans just talking about some information they've learned that Ferrari are going to build the 2022 Haas car from Maranello. So, Williams there, and an Alfa being thrown into the queue. Max not happy with that. Release from the garage for the Williams. Frankie says, Russell is no one's top 5 for driver of year because he has been stuck in the Williams. Driver of the year, actually, just on that, Frankie, is a really tough call, I think, this year, because I think, obviously, Hamilton, 7 world titles, record breaker. Max Verstappen's thrown that car around as best he can. Charles Leclerc's extracted everything from the Ferrari. Pierre Gasly's been fantastic. Sergio Perez, in his best season, is a race winner, has been fantastic as well. It's a really tough call. Ricciardo's been good. Sainz, certainly, once those first few races are out of the way, has really got going. I think Norris has been solid. It's a tough call this year, isn't it? It's a real tough call, but... So we're on board with Charles Leclerc. That's got confusing this weekend. He's got a helmet on that says Seb on it, paying tribute to his teammate, who, of course, leaves the team this year. End of this season, going to Aston Martin next year. And actually, I think he'd quite fancy winning that Racing Point this year, to be honest, wouldn't he, based on where Ferrari have been. Expecting Seb to be somewhere around 12th place again today. So purples at the moment. Hamilton purple, Albon purple as well. He's in the middle sector though. So Albon's going to go quickest by the look of it, but not for long if Hamilton keeps up that pace. 41.087 for Albon in the middle sector. Just waiting to see what Hamilton does in the middle sector as Leclerc goes fastest, 36.894. Albon and Verstappen could be about. I'm not sure Verstappen will beat that, but Albon will. It's purple for Hamilton in the middle, so it looks like Hamilton's going to go fastest. Over the line goes Verstappen. Does go quicker than Leclerc by 0.08 of a second. Over the line goes Albon, 36.1. And there's Giovinazzi, 37.8. In 4th place. That incident between the Williams and the Red Bull will be investigated. The Williams have been released into the path of Max Verstappen. Bit bumpy there for Hamilton out that corner. I think there's been a deleted lap time there. Investigated after the session, so we might see some penalties, but possibly a reprimand for the Williams. Bottas now quickest. Just shy of a 10th quicker than his teammate, 35.6. As Lewis said in chat, there's not much point paying too much attention to the early stages of this session. It's all a little bit later when it'll all kick off. Perez goes 3rd for now, though, 36.0, 3/10 off Bottas. And Stroll, 1:36.5, and Hamilton's time's been deleted. So Lewis Hamilton's lap time deleted. Lando Norris over the line with his fancy helmet for this weekend. Piece of cake, just reminding everybody in chat there, don't forget Verstappen has a flat spot, so that'll be where some of his lap time has gone. But yeah, just confirmation there, Hamilton's lap time's been deleted for track limits at turn 20. Track limits. Yes, I know you all love a bit of track limits talk. It's right up there with tyre talk, isn't it? We all enjoy it so much. He was wide, but I don't think he gained any time from that, but... rules are rules, I guess. Hamilton asking the team to check the floor. Might have some damage over the sausage curb. Or, if he hasn't got damage, then he's got away with that. Jim Ricciardo sparking away through 3 and 4. So we've got Bottas, Perez, Albon, Stroll, Sainz, Verstappen, Norris, Leclerc, Gasly, Kvyat, Raikkonen, Magnussen, Fittipaldi, Russell and Latifi, all with times on the board. And then it's Ricciardo, Hamilton, Vettel, Giovinazzi and Ocon yet to set a time. Do we think Renault can get 3rd in the Constructors, or do we agree it's probably between Racing Point and McLaren, 10 points between them. Renault 22 points off 3rd. I mean... they've had a win, haven't they, Racing Point? So Renault would need something like 4th and 5th and fastest lap to do it, assuming that we get a podium of, let's say, 2 Mercedes and a Red Bull. Something like that. They're going to need 4th and 5th, and that's 22, and then a fastest lap as well. Yeah, I'm just sort of pondering. I think what they'd need a Sakir style race, and they'd need to get themselves on the podium again. But McLaren only 10 points off third place. And like I say, if you have, for example, Perez can't get in the points and Stroll has a shocker and Norris or Sainz finish fourth, that's 12 points. That moves them up there, doesn't it? So it's possible. I think Racing Point are favourites, and I do think Perez will score points, and I think Stroll should score points in that car. So it'll not be easy. It'll not be easy for McLaren, but it's doable. I think Renault would need some chaos, I think. But aren't Renault about the 12 points, aren't they, behind McLaren? So it's also possible they could get McLaren. So there you go. Everyone desperate for that little bit of extra money this year with everything that's gone on. Ocon purple, whoa. Latifi, back end really wide out of turn 20, but Ocon purple in the first sector. So some good pace in that Renault in that first sector. But it is only P8 to 136.7 just behind his teammate. 800th of his teammate, actually. Harshall says it'll be Racing Point, Renault, McLaren. Yeah, I said in my preview, I think it will stay as it is. Maybe a little bit closer, maybe some slightly bigger gaps, just depending on who scores what, but I think it will stay as it is for this one. But I'm still looking forward to watching that fight. And last year, it's that little battle between McLaren, Racing Point and Renault came down to the final lap on track, not in the championship, but on track. I think it was Perez up the inside of Norris, and then I think there's a move on Hülkenberg as well, and Ricciardo followed somebody through. It was all happening on the last lap between those teams, so it'd be great to see that again, wouldn't it? Imagine the fight for third being decided on the last lap. It's not quite the same as, say, Brazil 2008 in terms of excitement, I suppose, but a drama. But it's still something to fight for, isn't it? A lot of money in that. Like I say, with everything that's happened this year, the teams need every penny they can get. So it's a big weekend, bigger than maybe some think in that battle for third. It doesn't sound like it matters, but it really does. Fittipaldi, what can he do? So Raikkonen 37.5 is on the bubble at the moment. Fittipaldi over the line, 1.2 seconds off, stays 17th. Russell actually only down 18th and Latifi 19th. So, but like we've already said, just don't pay too much attention. These final runs will be the ones that matter. We've got about 5 minutes 45 to go. Catherine Boyle says Danny, Rick and Alonso fighting out next year for third in the Constructors will be great to watch. I'm looking forward to that. You all know my feelings on Fernando. There's always going to be that little bit of meh towards him, because, not necessarily because of him, but because of that rivalry he had with Michael Schumacher. One day I'll get over it, but there's no doubt he's a phenomenal racing driver, and it's great to see him back, because he's gonna spice up that midfield even more, isn't he? Which is going to be great. So him and Danny Rick, and then Ferrari can get on the pace as well as Verstappen goes second. That'd be good to see. Aston Martin in there, Seb Vettel may be involved. I think we've got a good season brewing next year, at the very least, in the midfield again. So yeah, I'm ready for 20. Should we just skip to March? Is everyone happy with that? Should we just call this one off and skip to March? I'm quite happy for that one. Not sure the teams will fight for that third place. Do you think Alonso's going to be racy? I absolutely do. I absolutely do think he's going to be racy. He's of course, he's still a young driver, as is proven by the fact he's in the young driver test next week. So that's causing a bit of controversy, but there you go. Max saying his lap was bad because he got his hand stuck in the cockpit out of turn 6. Bit of a shaky start for Verstappen at the moment. That's Latifi's rear left just dipping over that sausage curb and nearly sending him round. Well held. Charlotte says Hamilton versus Vettel versus Alonso 2012 vibes. Absolutely. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. 4 minutes to go in this Q1 session. Things should start to spice up now, so I'll keep you updated as best I can. But Bottas, Verstappen, Perez, Albon, Stroll, Sainz, Leclerc, Hamilton, Ricciardo, Ocon, Norris, Gasly, Kvyat, Vettel, Raikkonen. And then in the drop zone, it's Magnussen, Fittipaldi, Russell, Latifi, and Giovinazzi, who hasn't set a time. I don't know if he's had one deleted, but he hasn't set a time just yet. Mercedes checking the floor on that. Well, Mercedes, obviously, of Lewis Hamilton. Just listening to Ted, because he's just talking about Giovinazzi, so I think maybe going out. There goes Raikkonen, and it looks like Gio's going out as well, so all good. the camera there, focusing for some reason on the We Racers 1 sign in the grandstand for a second there. Interesting timing. Here we go then. 2 minutes 55 to go. These are the final runs in this session. Like I say, Magnussen, Fittipaldi, Russell, Latifi and Gio all in the bottom 5. Afternoon, Flameboy, Tom, YT. You're a little bit late, mate, but it's all right. You've not missed much. We're going in for the final runs of Q1 now. They've all got their banker laps in. These are the ones that matter. So still the good stuff to come. Still the good stuff to come. So what do we got? So, looks... What's the lap here? 1:35.6 at full speed. So it's... you want a lot more than that. You want a decent amount to get round and do a decent outlap. Bottas has gone out. Leclerc, Hamilton, and then everyone Ocon down has gone out as well. Verstappen, Perez, Albon, Stroll and Sainz, the top 6 are still in the pits, as is Ricciardo in 9th. I'm just going to keep an eye super quickly. We're watching George Russell come around the final couple of corners now, but I'm just going to have a look and keep an eye on those top 6, or the 2nd to 6th anyway, and see if any of them come out. What they're not going to, are they? That's 1:45 left. So looks like Verstappen's happy, Perez is happy, Albon, Stroll and Sainz as well. Ricciardo a little bit bold there in 9th place, but we'll see. We'll see what Russell does. This will be a real teller as to who's safe and by how much. Let's see what he can do. First sector. Half a tenth down on Raikkonen, so that's not going to get him through. So we'll see what... it's not looking good for Russell at the moment. Back to earth with a bump for him this weekend. To be fair, I think a lot of people, sort of pundits, and I think a lot of people around the Williams team as well, felt like Sakir was their best chance of getting points in the final race. I don't think they were optimistic about this weekend, so perhaps the Williams was always going to struggle this weekend, but we'll see what George can do. Be nice to see him get into Q2. He's done it 9 times this year. 9 times he's done it, and he might do it today. It's a personal best, but he's a 10th and a half down on Raikkonen. He's going to need a mega final sector. Don't think he'll get another run in either, so we'll see what's kicking off at. We've got a yellow flag for some reason. I see somebody's missed a chicane or gone wide somewhere. We'll see, I'm sure, a replay at some point. Track is green, so it's all good. Now, what can George do? He needs to beat a 1:37.555. Comes through the final corner, over the line, and goes 16th. That is the flag. Only 16th, though, for Russell. So he is not going to get through because he won't get it. We can get another run in, but he's not going to. See what Kvyat does over the line. What can he do? Down in 13th. And moves up to 5th, does Daniel Kvyat. Fantastic lap from Kvyat. Norris goes 3rd. Great lap from him. 36.0. Here comes Gasly. He only goes 9th, but bit of a surprise there to see Kvyat and Norris getting those times. And what could Giovinazzi do? He goes 15th and knocks his teammate out. Here comes Kimi over the line. Vettel as well. Vettel goes 11th. Kimi does a... stays 16th. He's out. So we've lost Raikkonen. Magnussen goes 17th. We've lost him. We've already lost Russell by the look of it. Fittipaldi probably as well, and Latifi. Bottas, I think, marginally improves there. Certainly a purple final sector. Here comes Fittipaldi, who stays 19th, and Charles Leclerc goes 2nd on a 35.8. I won't get excited. I got excited last week, didn't I? Hamilton fastest, 35.5, so no floor damage there at all, was it? But not a particularly thrilling end to that session. No great surprises. Raikkonen, Magnussen, Russell, Fittipaldi and Latifi all go out. So Hamilton fastest, 35.5. Bottas a 10th further back in second place. Leclerc third, 3/10 down. Verstappen in fourth, 4/10 down. Norris in fifth, Perez sixth, and Albon in seventh. Eighth for Kvyat, ninth for Stroll. Just Latifi here. We're just watching quickly on board. So he goes... I mean, that's embarrassing. Tried to get some space to start a flying lap. And then goes through the final corner, floors it, and just loses the back end. Anyway, Kvyat in 8th, Stroll in 9th, and Carlos Sainz rounding out the top 10. It's 11th for Pierre Gasly and 12th for Sebastian Vettel. I said around 12th. Let me enjoy this moment. 13th for Daniel Ricciardo, 14th for Esteban Ocon. It's 15th for Giovinazzi, 16th for Raikkonen, he's out. 17th for Magnussen, he's out. Also out is Russell. Fittipaldi, 19th, he's out. And 20th for Latifi. So George Russell goes back to Williams, doesn't make it out of Q1, but does beat his teammate again. So there you go. I'm just going to have a look. I just need to double check something here because... I don't know what that means for the head-to-head for the teammate battle. I don't know if that... I'm trying to remember what it was I was looking at yesterday when I was writing my thingy, but I can't remember if that evens things out. Possibly. Or if that means that Gio's beaten Kimi. But he's been solid this year, Giovinazzi. He's not been amazing, but he's been solid. Let's have a look. So coming into this weekend, it was 8 apiece. So Antonio Giovinazzi has just won the qualifying battle between him and Kimi Raikkonen. So that's a little victory there for him. A little win. So good for him. Actually, qualifying battles if you're interested. Hamilton 11-4, that's won. Vettel 12-4 down on Leclerc, that's won. Verstappen 16-0 over Albon, that's won. Sainz 8, Lando Norris 7. 15-1 between Ricciardo and Ocon. Gasly 13-3 with Kvyat. 10-3 Perez on Stroll. 8 apiece, of course, it was between Kimi and Gio, so that's been won by Gio. Grosjean 7-8 with Magnussen, that's obviously not going to change. George Russell 15-0, now 16-0 over Latifi. And there your teammate battles coming to this one, so... thank you to Victor Delta Sierra Aviation Victor Delta Sierra Aviation for your super chat. Says, how come there's been such a huge gap between the two Ferraris the entire season? Good question. Thank you again for your contribution. I don't know. I just don't think the car suits Seb's driving style. That shouldn't be too much of a surprise, given that the team are always going to gear that car towards Leclerc if Vettel's leaving, but. I don't know. I don't know the technical ins and outs, but it's. I think it's fair to say. That Sebastian Vettel can't wait for the checkered flag on Sunday, and it's all over. He can go home, watch some Harry Enfield and chums over the Christmas period, and then get himself in that Aston Martin next year and see what he can do. It's been a rotten season for him, hasn't it? So yeah. Gasly seems to have given up after he was confirmed, or the luck abandoned him, says Findlay. I don't think so. I don't think he's given up. I think Fiat stepped it up. I don't know if that's just him sort of hoping that maybe somebody will come in and give him a seat next year. Of course, he leaves after this race unless something crazy happens. So it's interesting, isn't it? If Gasly was doing this normally, we'd say, yeah, he's doing all right. But because he's had such an incredible season, it looks like he's really, really dropped off. But I still think he's doing okay. Nothing really to prove now, has he? So... Just watching the replay here of Max Verstappen. Oh, it does, yeah. Just showing that his hand gets stuck in the cockpit. It does, yeah. At turn 6. So that's why his lap was a little bit sloppy. What did he do? He was P4, wasn't he, in the end? So he comes through 6. Yeah, the car seems to snap away, and he hits his hand on the cockpit, and that's, yeah, weird. I mean, it's tight in those cockpits, isn't it, for these drivers? So, yeah. Frankie says at one stage it looked like Vettel would win 7 championships and more. Yeah. I think I've said this before. If I haven't, I'll say it again. But actually, I go back to, let's say, 2012. If you'd have said to me that Lewis Hamilton would win 7, isn't it? 7 world championships, I wouldn't have believed you, because it'd been so long since he won his first. And, you know, when he won that first, you thought, oh, this guy's got a shot at breaking some records here. And then it was so long before his next world championship that I just didn't think he was going to get those. Whereas Vettel, sort of back to what you're saying there, had that momentum, didn't he? You thought, wow, he's just going to keep winning everything. And then it's kind of gone the other way. So, yeah. So here we go. We are underway already. That went quick, that little interval. Time is already coming down to 14 minutes, so everyone's starting to head out. I'll set the timer off in just a second. So we've got, I'm listening to Ted, but I could just look at the live timing rather than try to get the tyre information from Ted. Hamilton is going out on the mediums, as is Bottas, as you might expect. Charles Leclerc also going out on the mediums, as is Max Verstappen. Lando Norris soft. Alex Albon medium. Soft tyre, I should say. I'm not saying Lando Norris is soft. He's on the soft tyre. Alex Albon on the mediums. Kvyat and Stroll also on the soft. Carlos Sainz on the mediums. Gasly on the softs. Vettel, Ricciardo and Ocon on the mediums, and the others on the softs. But I think Vettel will soon be in and put the softs on, to be honest. Leclerc, he could get through on those mediums, but the Ferrari, I think, needs all the help it can get at the moment. So I'd be surprised. Crofty just suggesting there that maybe, obviously, if he gets into the top 10. Even with his 3-place grid penalty, if that drops him outside the top 10, he still has to start on the tyre that he got into Q3 on. So maybe they're looking to just try and get him through on that so that he can use that medium at the start tomorrow. So here goes Hamilton. He'll be first to do a lap time. Down this long straight. It's another one. I kind of wish, I don't know how you guys feel, I kind of wish the FIA and whatnot would sit down and just set up the DRS zones like they do in Bahrain, like they do here in Abu Dhabi, where you've got that long DRS zone, then there's another detection point for a second DRS zone straight away, so that car that's just been potentially overtaken has a chance to fight back. Somewhere like Australia, that could work quite nicely, although it's a bit tougher to overtake there. But I just think maybe that should be how DRS always works, in that you have a zone and then another detection point, then another zone, so that people can fight back, rather than it just being a case of breezing past and then at the next one be able to pull away. But I suppose the purpose-built tracks it'll work out, but maybe some of the temporary tracks like Albert Park, it maybe wouldn't. I don't know, turn one's a tricky overtaking spot, Albert Park. We'll do that next year. We don't need to talk about that now, but just a little pondering. I like the way they lay out the DRS in Bahrain and Abu Dhabi. I think it works. Over the line, Hamilton 35.466. Bottas will be the next one to do a time. Does a 1:35.527. Sainz will be the next one to do a time. What can he do? Final corner. Carlos Sainz does a 1:36.1. 0.7 off the 2 Mercs. But a solid time from Sainz. So McLaren have got some good pace here. Gasly 4th, 36.3, 2/10 off Carlos Sainz. Giovinazzi goes into 5th place, 38.2, 2.7 seconds off the fastest time. So that is on a set of used tyres. I might have been generous there, as Kvyat goes into 5th place, 36.3. Getting some nice early laps in. The sun is setting. Floodlights are starting to take over now as Norris goes third in the 35.8. 4/10 quicker, actually, than Carlos Sainz. And Albon goes fourth. Verstappen only fifth on a 36.2. Medium tyre, of course, for them. Norris was on the softs. That'll be why there's such a margin there between him and his teammate. Vettel goes ninth on the mediums, but there's still Leclerc to go. There he goes into 8th place on a 36.3. We've still got Stroll, Ricciardo, Ocon and Perez to do a time. Stroll only 10th on a 36.4. Someone's had their time deleted. It was Alex Albon. Over the line, Ricciardo into 10th on a 36.7. And Ocon does a 36.9, sorry. So, yeah, Albon, track limits, time deleted. Just to say to Mr. Is it Mr. Osh Fosh? I might have butchered your name there, so apologies for that one. I'm not bothered how people came to watch Formula One. I've been watching 30 years. Some people watch it now because they got into it via Netflix. It doesn't matter how they got it. They're fans of F1, so no need to be like that. And just to answer your comment on the car versus the driver, it's both. I said it last week, actually, didn't I? The best car is no good without the best driver, and the best driver is no good without the best car. You put Hamilton in the Williams, he ain't winning anything. You put Bottas in a Williams, he ain't winning anything. You put them in a Mercedes, they will win things. That's that. I mean, I've said before about Lance Stroll, actually, funnily enough, probably last year, or maybe the year before in a video, that I don't see him as like a world champion, a championship winning driver. But if you put him in the Mercedes, in either Mercedes, he'd have a chance of winning the championship. So it's car and driver, it's both. Eight minutes 10 to go in Q2. I just totally bummed myself out by saying I've been watching F1 for nearly 30 years. Just little reminders as to how old I feel at times. Don't tell me off if you're older than me. Yeah, just a little reminder there for me. It'll be my hip next. We complained about the pain in my hip. You wait. Everyone in the pits, by the look of it. What's Verstappen? He's on his way in by the look of it. So Albon, Ricciardo and Perez yet to set. I assume their times were deleted. Because Ricciardo definitely did a time, so his has been deleted. Perez hasn't done a time just yet. Perez doesn't need to, though, does he? Because he's got that. He's started from the back, whatever happens. So, yeah. Jack Webb says, I've been watching F1 for 90 years. Those are rookie numbers. Got to pump them numbers up. I've been watching for 125 years, mate. God, keep up. Before anyone says it, yes, I know Formula One is only 70 years old. We're reminded every weekend. So the championship, is only 70 years old. Formula One isn't. The official World Championship is. Let's not get into that debate. Was Ricciardo? Yeah, Ricciardo was track limits. Yes, it was. I was going to say, he definitely set a time, so that must be track limits. Final corner by the look of it. Oh, just over that line, but that is the line. Also, Albon's time was deleted as well. Perez didn't set one, so we'll see what happens. Looks like Verstappen coming in. He's still out there at the moment, but he is 5th place, 7/10 off the Mercedes on the medium tyre, same as them. Yeah. Norris up in 3rd place on the softs. There's a bit of pressure on Alex Albon here. I mean, the poor guy's under immense pressure this weekend anyway. Mostly from maybe outside sources is the way to put it. Because I still think that Red Bull are going to sign him. But then somebody said the other day, made an excellent point. If Red Bull were genuinely so certain to sign him, why haven't they done it yet? And it made me go, you've got a bloody point. If they were genuinely that desperate to sign Alex Albon, surely he'd have been signed up by now. And I can't help but feel that maybe if they had just confirmed him, maybe a little bit less pressure and he might have taken a few less risks and maybe would have got some better results. There's a lot of ifs and buts and maybes in there, I know that, but I don't know. I think if I was sticking with the driver 100%, then I would have confirmed them long before now, especially if they're under pressure. So We'll see. We'll see what happens. There is Sergio Perez on the subject. Talk is that he is the favourite if they decide to drop Albon. Nico Hülkenberg's name still in the mix, but falling away a little bit now. But just Perez's quotes about being at peace with next year and all of that. And then the talk that Albon's probably going to stay and the Thai ownership. And I think Massachusetts is a fan of him and wants to keep him as well. So I still think it's going to be Albon. But it is. I do agree with people that have said that it's odd that if they are going to stick with him, they've not confirmed him yet. So there you go. Lewis says, I've been watching Formula One since 1992. I don't want to calculate how long that is. That's how long I've been watching. 1992. South Africa. First race. Was it the first race of the season? It was early on in the season, South Africa 92. On my granddad's boat when we were fishing for the weekend. Introduced me, thanks granddad, to Grand Prix racing. And now I just sit and talk crap about it every weekend. And there you go. But yeah. I'm with you on that one. Seb Vettel. Is he going to go on the softs, do we reckon? He's set his time on the mediums, 36.8. He's P10, half a tenth quicker than Ocon. I think he's going to have to go on softs, isn't he? So Albon, yeah, a little bit of pressure on him. Is kind of the point I was making now as we come up to 3 minutes and 40. Flameboy Tom YTC, is Vettel leaving F1 or is he just going to another F1 team? He's going to what is now Racing Point, the Pink Panthers, and they'll be called Aston Martin next year, and he's going to partner Lance Stroll. Another lineup I'm looking forward to. Track temperature 1 degree cooler, according to Checo's race engineer there. Perez comes straight in the pits. So he went out on a set of softs and then came straight in the pits. I wonder if he's just setting some sector times, knowing that he's dropping to the back of the grid. I wonder what... Yeah, I think sector times maybe, just so he's done something in this session. I don't know. We've got some traffic down at the turn 8. I guess it's a chicane. It is a chicane, really, isn't it? Seb Vettel is on the softs. So what are people doing? So everybody on softs except for Verstappen and Leclerc, according to the official timing. I would assume Mercedes is just going to do what they always do and go and bang in some super quick sector tyres, then back off in the third sector if they don't need to, just to get those, make sure they are through. James Smith has been watching since 1991, year before me. Joel says, oh, you all are F1 granddads. Rude. Clearly watching F1 for 14 years is rookie numbers. Not at all. Don't matter if you've been watching for 70 years or 70 seconds. Everyone welcome to waffle away on this channel with me. Right, Fiat then. It's going to be through the first sector. A tenth down, Hamilton, tenth and a half down. He is through at the moment in P8. Ocon, Giovinazzi, Albon, Ricciardo and Perez occupy the bottom 5. Albon, like I said, a bit of pressure on him. Ricciardo's only get the one running as well by the look of it. Perez probably not going to set a time. In fact, I think he's in the pits. Freeze014 says, I am old. My first year was 1986. That was the year I was born. Sorry, sorry, Freeze. Just really rub it in there. Now I was going to tell me they were born in 7 minutes ago or something to make me feel really, yeah. Kvyat then through the middle sector, 6 tenths down on Hamilton, which would improve his time if he were to carry on with that, but I assume he'll lose a bit of time in the final sector as well. Gasly personal best middle sector, Ocon personal best first and second sectors. Gasly. I just need... over the line then. Kvyat does go 5th place. Not bad at all. 36.2, 7/10 off the fastest time. Gasly 36.2 as well. 7/10 off his 7th. Ocon 36.3 in 9th. The flag is out, by the way. Leclerc goes 4th on the medium tyre. Good lap from Leclerc. 35.9. That should see him through. Giovinazzi 37.0 into 12th. Sebastian Vettel on the softs. 36.6. Improved his time, but not going through. Stroll on the bubble here. He needs this lap, does Lance Stroll. So does Albon Ricciardo. That's his full name, Albon and Ricciardo. Stroll goes 5th on a 36.1. Now it's Ocon on the bubble. Will Ricciardo knock his teammate out here? Personal best first sector. Not great in the middle. Personal best final sector, but it's 11th for Daniel Ricciardo. Where is Alex Albon? Personal best first sector. 40.9 in the middle sector. It's track limits, time deleted for Giovinazzi. He drops to 13th. What can Alex Albon do? What is he doing out there? He should get through, surely. Verstappen goes 3rd on a 35.6. Here goes Albon over the line. Yes, he does. 4th place, 35.6, matching his teammate. Good lap that from Alex under pressure on the soft tyre as well. So they needed to go on that to get him through, but Albon is through. And we've... somehow, I was talking about the pace they had after FP3. They were, I know FP3 means next to nothing, but they were 3rd and 4th in FP3. They're 11th and 12th. Both the Renaults are out. That's a surprise. So both the AlphaTauris have got through, both the McLarens, and despite the fact that Perez didn't get through into Q3 because he's got to take his penalty, we've still lost both Renaults. Verstappen was on the medium, Frankie. Yes, he was. Albon was on the soft tyre. So we've lost Yas Marino. Crofty, sorry. Yas Marino. So we've lost Ocon, Ricciardo, Vettel, Giovinazzi and Perez, who starts from the back of the grid. So Hamilton was fastest on a 35.4, 600ths quicker than Bottas. Max Verstappen on the medium tyre, 35.6. So the top 3 are starting on the medium tomorrow. Albon on the softs will be starting on the softs, 35.6. Norris also softs, 35.8. Leclerc is 6th. Medium tyre as well, so he starts on that wherever he qualifies. If the session were to stop now, which it won't, of course, he would start 9th with that 3-place grid drop, but still another session to come. Lance Stroll 7th, so an improvement on last time out, 36.1. Not last time out, was it? Where did he qualify 13th? Was it Bahrain? It wasn't Sakir, wasn't it? It was Bahrain. Sainz 8th, Kvyat 9th, and Gasly in 10th place. 8/10 covering the top 10. Esteban Ocon missing out by 8/100ths of a second. Nothing in that, but does out-qualify Daniel Ricciardo for, I think it will be about the 2nd time this year. So, there you go. We'll see then. I don't really know what to say on that. I'm really surprised to see the Renaults down there. So they're going to need a really big race tomorrow, aren't they? If they want to do, if they really do want to be in the fight for 3rd, they need a big race tomorrow. So. At the minute, it's looking like Mercedes, Red Bull on pace. But again, Albon on the soft tyre, slower than only marginally slower than his teammate. But yeah, get within a couple of tenths, qualify 4th, and I think Albon will have had a good Saturday. Yeah, I'm quite surprised by that. No surprise by Vettel qualified 13th. We'll stay there at the moment, depending on what Leclerc does. We'll see. But yeah, 13th for Vettel. Just a miserable season. Final qualifying over for him. One more day left in that car, and then he can, like I say, go away and watch something, chill for a bit. Ready for 2021 and a fresh start. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. I think it'll be a great chance for him to reset. There'll be a hell of a lot less pressure at Aston Martin as well next year. And we'll see what he can do there. Harshall says, was Perez eliminated? He was. He didn't set a lap time, I assume, because he has that penalty anyway. I've not heard anything to say otherwise, but I assume because he has that penalty where he starts from the back, they just thought there's no point really pushing too much. So there you go. Perez P15, no lap time. Did some sector times, but that was about it. Albon really wide out turn 20, and I think 21 as well. So that's why he had his lap time originally deleted. Did get the second lap in. Good afternoon to Christian Harvey in chat. Good to see you. Final one of the year, final qualifying of the year. Andy F wants to know, Aston Martin team is just a rebranding of Racing Point. It is, yeah. Lawrence Stroll's bought shares in Aston Martin, and they've dropped the Red Bull sponsorship, the title sponsorship, and they're just going to name the team next year. So yeah, it's basically a rebranding, but I think commercially it's a very good rebranding, isn't it? Because you've got, of course, you'll get a bit more money with Aston Martin because you can market that a bit better than the awful name that is Racing Point. I'm so glad that was just a placeholder. And I think a bit more money coming from the consortium as well. They're looking good, and their partnership with Mercedes apparently extending a little bit as well, if you listen to the rumours and whatnot. So, yeah. Not sure about the BWT sponsorship, Rins. I kind of hope not, because I'm not sure British Racing Green and Pink is going to work. I know a few people have done some concepts which look actually pretty cool, but I quite like the British Racing Green, and then like the fluorescent yellowy green colour they have. I quite like that as a livery, so I'm hoping not. But at the same time, if it's another sponsor on the car, that's good news. So there you go. So Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen, Albon, Norris, Leclerc, Stroll, Sainz, Fiat and Gasly are your top 10 for the final Q3 run of the year. I'm just going to keep saying final this and final that, aren't I? Because it's just what it is. It's just what it is. Yes, Jack. Aston Martin have ended their sponsorship with Red Bull, which is why I still think there's something in the Checo thing, or could be, because obviously losing a title sponsor, even somebody like Red Bull who have got a good amount of money behind them, it doesn't hurt to have a bit more. So losing a title sponsorship, maybe bring in Checo, the Mexican market. Because just super quickly, actually, before we get into Q3, people keep talking about the tie links at Red Bull, and that's why Albon might stay. But I can't honestly say I've really seen them make anything of that. I've not seen a lot of nothing on YouTube, nothing on their socials, nothing really anywhere sort of promoting that link between the Thai side of Red Bull and Alex Albon. So I'm not sure that's going to be a major factor really in the decision. But at the same time, if you've got a company that's partly Thai owned, then maybe there is. But do you know what I mean? It's not like in the past when, Checo was at Sauber, Mexico was on the rear wing and they made a big fuss when they went. Yeah, that kind of, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. We're into Q3. Let's crack on with it. It's a waffly kind of day. I like a good waffle. I don't know if you've noticed. Be nice. 12 minutes for this final session. We are green. The timer just, again, hasn't set off. Yeah. Jack says Red Bull have to sign Perez. I mean, I made the point on Twitter the other day. If the decision is solely based on performance, yeah, it has to be Perez. The thing is, in Formula One, rarely is any decision with the driver just based purely on performance. There's sponsorship to think of. There are political reasons to bring a driver in, like I say, the Thai ownership at Red Bull. There's so much more than just that driver's been performing better than that driver, let's sign him. There's just so much more going on. So if it was just based on performance, absolutely, but it just isn't, is it? So we'll see. And Christian says, has Yuki Tsunoda been announced for AlphaTauri? Not yet, officially. Although I think Honda representatives said in an interview, I think possibly on the F1 podcast, maybe, they're looking forward to seeing what Tsunoda could do in F1 next year. So he's not been officially confirmed, but it's coming. And that's why, by the way, super heads up, when Tsunoda is confirmed, there won't be a video because it's entirely pointless, because you all know Yuki Tsunoda is going to be in that AlphaTauri next year. If he isn't, something's gone wrong. Something's gone wrong somewhere. The timer is away almost. Yes, so 100% he'll be in that car. And I think, you know, in many ways, rightly so. Fantastic season in F2. Rookie of the year, literally. Looks super quick. Yeah. I think he deserves that chance. But I fully expect we're going to see Albon at Red Bull. Unless the reason they're not confirming Tsunoda is because they don't know what to do with Albon yet. I don't know. Let's not get into that. It's qualifying. We'll have a chat. We'll do some Q&A afterwards. Penultimate stream of the season, of course. So possibly last live stream actually until the new year. So we'll see. But Norris is going to be going out on the time. Obviously, everyone will do these on the softs. For those interested, the used soft tyres on Norris's car, used soft tyres on Kvyat's car, on Gasly's car as well. So everyone else new tyres, those drivers have got used tyres on. So these laps won't be totally representative of their pace. It's just about getting a banker lap in just in case. So Norris will obviously be purple, so I won't get excited about that on the sector times because he is the first one to do a lap. But Lance Stroll on a fresh set of punching the desk, apologies. Stroll on a fresh set of softs is not going quicker than Norris, interestingly enough. Norris is definitely, he's definitely on used tyres. So that's interesting, that Stroll is apparently slower than Norris. Interesting. So we've got, just going to wait for these to come around and get their lap times on the board. Purple for Sainz in the middle sector. He's on a fresh set of tyres. Norris is on a decent lap, actually, considering he's on older tyres. See what he can do here. Through turn 20, does he keep within the lines? He just about. And then into 21, needs to keep it in the lines as well. Pushing hard over the line. Kvyat at 36.4, Norris at 35.9. What can Stroll do? He comes across to do a 36.1. Couple of tenths down despite newer tyres. That's weird. Keep an eye on that. Gasly goes fourth on a 36.7. Carlos Sainz, he was purple in the middle sector till the Mercedes got out there. 35.8 for Sainz. Nearly a couple of tenths quicker than Norris. Hamilton will be through the final couple of corners now. Bottas purple in the middle. Hamilton purple in the first. There's going to be nothing between these two. Is Hamilton at 35.550. Max Verstappen's out there too, as you would expect. Bottas, can he go fastest? He does, a 35.415, actually 1.5 tenths nearly. And Max Verstappen goes second on a 35.5. Hello. Or is that just another? Is that Leclerc goes seventh? Is that just another one of those moments where Verstappen puts a lap in like that, and we all go, oh, hang on, we've got a fight for pole, and then Mercedes go half a second quicker. Albon fourth. Good lap from Alex Albon. 1.5 tenths off Bottas's time, and only half a tenth off his teammate. That's better, Alex. Need that every weekend. I always make sure I say this in every live stream when I talk about Alex Albon. I want him to turn it around. Nothing would make me happier than seeing him turn it around and keep that seat based on performance. But he's got to step up, and that's a very good lap. Only half a tenth off his teammate as well. So there you go. Fourth place, exactly where he needs to be. That's where he should be. Again, every week I say this. Black Hawk says Sainz looked close to track limits just then. Wouldn't be surprised to see it taken away. Which McLaren were you on board with? Was it Sainz or Norris? I think Norris was pretty close on turn 20. I didn't see Sainz's. I wasn't really looking. I was looking at the timing screen as he went across the line. I'm sure we'll find out in a minute. They're usually pretty quick to delete them. Hamilton. Bit of a snap out of that awkward chicane that I really wish they would remove. Can't help but feel that we'd see more overtaking Abu Dhabi if they just got rid of that 5-6 chicane. But I think, I might be wrong, but I think it's to do with the runoff, isn't it? They'd need to extend the runoff if they kept that as a straight into that hairpin. They'd have to extend the runoff, but somebody built a theme park behind it. So it's not just as easy as extending the runoff. Could be that. Just while we're in the lull, the usual YouTube plug, please do drop a like. Abu Dhabi usually a quiet one. I haven't actually looked at the stats, actually. Yeah, about half of what we had last time. So please do drop a like and let's get those likes up. It will be massively appreciated. And do subscribe if you're new. Yeah. The usual stuff, the usual stuff. Roche Fosh just saying, I just noticed the Mercs has a different livery. They do. They've tweaked it for this weekend. They've put the names of, I think, all the Mercedes employees on the engine cover. Nicky Lauda's star, his red star has just been moved slightly up into the side, I think, and they've got all the names on there. So, nice little touch from Mercedes this weekend. Flying Tiger says somebody built a theme park. Yeah, Ferrari World. I'd quite like to go there, actually, to be honest. I enjoy that. I do like a theme park. Bit of Alton Towers. So I quite fancy that. Right then. Final runs. Everybody on a fresh set of soft tyres you would expect. Scott Barnes says, I love your voice. It's so crispy. Thank you. I usually get told I hate your voice. It's so irritating. So I really appreciate that. A crispy voice. Hopefully get a new microphone before the start of next season. I've got my stuff I need. I just need to get the actual microphone now. But the microphone's been in stock all year. And I left it, waiting for the other thing to come in stock. Other thing came in stock, bought it, microphone went out of stock. I call that just my luck. But there you go. Gasly down the outside of Lewis Hamilton there. Had to just check his mirrors. Bit of a surprise there. Right. So where is everyone? So we've got the two AlphaTauris, then Hamilton. Then a McLaren. I assume it's Sainz. No, it isn't, is it? It's, we'll just say a McLaren. Then it's Bottas, the other McLaren. Then it's Leclerc, a Red Bull, Stroll, and another Red Bull. So there we go. Everyone backing up, trying to find some space. There's a McLaren coming through there. Norris catching Hamilton. Hamilton will, I'm sure, floor it now a little bit. Everyone just backing up, trying to make sure they've got a little bit of space for these final runs. 2 minutes 10 to go. Everybody is on a fresh set of soft tyres. This is it. Who have we got for pole? What do we reckon? Bottas currently has that pole position. And then Verstappen and Hamilton. What did Toto just say to Bottas? I totally missed that. Interesting. I missed that one. If anyone heard it in chat, let me know. Because I'm sure that was Toto and not James. Or his engineer. Here we go then. Hamilton into the first sector timing thing. There we go. 10th of a second quicker than Valtteri Bottas. Norris, personal best, 3/100ths, obviously on those fresh tyres this time. What do we got from Bottas now? Can he match or beat Hamilton? He is a little bit slower, only a little bit. This is going to be a close one. Oh, thank you, Rusty Gusty. Apparently something along the lines of give it your all. A little arm around the shoulder there from Toto. I like that. A lot of criticism for Bottas after the last race, after what happened with George Russell. Hamilton fastest, purple again, 40.7 in the middle. I'll let you know what Bottas does when he comes through. I'm liking the little in-picture on board of Bottas, see what he can do. It's a 40.8, so at the moment, Lewis Hamilton is on for pole position, but we've still got the rest of the final sector to go. No great surprises to see the Mercedes dueling out for the fastest time. Verstappen quicker than Bottas in the first sector, though, so there is a chance here that Bottas might end up third if he doesn't step it up. Lewis Hamilton, last couple of corners. Does he keep it in track limits? Yes, he does in the final corner. Over the line goes Hamilton 35.3, but Verstappen is purple in the middle sector. This is not over. It's a 35.3 for Hamilton. Currently has provisional pole position. Norris goes third in a 35.4. What can Bottas do? He's not had a great middle sector, as I say, over the line, but he does go pole position with a 35.2. 600ths quicker than Lewis Hamilton. Great final sector. Carlos Sainz stays in 6th place. Where is Max Verstappen? He was purple in the middle sector. Leclerc goes 8th. That will become a 3-place grid drop. 11th, obviously. What can Verstappen do? Keeps it in track limits over the line, and Max Verstappen takes pole position. It is Max Verstappen on pole position for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. I did not see that coming. Albon stays 5th, 3/10 off his teammate behind Lando Norris as well. So not amazing, but not awful from Alex. Certainly closer than he's been at times this season, but out of absolutely ruddy nowhere, Valtteri Bottas' final sector put him fastest, only for Max Verstappen to turn it around and take pole position himself. Wow, I was not expecting that. And if you like numbers and you like close racing, 86 thousandths of a second separate the top 3. Wow. What a lap from Max. I'm looking forward to that on board later when it appears on social media or when we get to see it on the SkyPad. Because that middle sector was incredible. He was so quick, purple. And then obviously nailed the final sector as well. I thought Bottas had got that. So your result, as it stands, Max Verstappen is on pole position for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Valtteri Bottas in 2nd place. 3rd for Lewis Hamilton, 4th for Lando Norris, 5th for Alex Albon, 6th for Carlos Sainz, 7th for Daniel Kvyat, 8th for Lance Stroll, 9th for Charles Leclerc, and 10th for Pierre Gasly. And of course, 3-place grid drop for Leclerc. That'll put him in 12th place. Louis says, Albon 3/10 off again. Sorry, Sean, but Alex was crap again. Yeah, but that 5th place and 3/10 off Verstappen is closer than he's been at times this season, was what I was saying. So not amazing, but not absolutely terrible. Terrible was it Sakir where he qualified 12th? That was terrible. But yeah. Still though, yeah, that's that surprised me. That has surprised me a lot. This is a Mercedes track. Don't forget, this is a Mercedes track. They've had every pole position since God knows when. Yeah. I'll check sector times if they ever crop back up again, but they've only got their in-lap sector tied, so I'm not sure what Albon did in the end. Maybe a tricky final lap, I don't know. But it is Max Verstappen celebrating pole position. Who saw that coming? Did anyone predict Verstappen? I think a lot of people thought it was going to be Mercedes all the way there. And like I say, I thought Bottas had got that with that final sector. And actually, Frankie excited for saying excellent for Lando Norris in 4th place. Rusty Gusty just said McLaren versus Racing Point is going to be super tight now. Great point. Both McLarens have outqualified, obviously, both Racing Points with Perez's penalty, but also Lance Stroll. Norris 4th, Sainz 5th. That would be plenty if Racing Point didn't score. In fact, that would be plenty if Racing Point only picked up a couple of points. So big pressure on Stroll and Perez tomorrow. This fight is not over for 3rd. Absolutely. I'm going to say it, mega lap from Norris. Mega lap from Verstappen. We've got a race tomorrow. I'm very excited now. Don't often get excited for Abu Dhabi, like I said at the start, but that has definitely spiced things up tomorrow. All start on the mediums as well, so there's no advantages there in terms of tyres. Yeah. Well, we'll do predictions a little bit later. We'll give it. We'll probably stay live for another 15, 20 minutes or so. I'll go through the order in a moment. I'll do my little awkward 10-second pause for anybody tuning in a little bit later. Some people do like to click on that timestamp and just come through to the initial reaction. But again, it's Abu Dhabi. This will be a very quiet stream and whatnot. So it'll be a quiet weekend, but that's fine. And on that note, please do drop a like. Like I say, would be massively appreciated. 155 likes, so a few more would be massively appreciated. Again, like I say, celebrations between Christian Horner and the Honda bosses there. Good stuff. Good stuff. Helmut Marko in the garage on the phone. That's the media off on one. Oh, he was on the phone after qualifying. Who's he talking to? Probably nobody. Probably ordering a pizza. Why not? Albon hit traffic, said unseen shadow 13. So that could, well, that's one explanation there. Yeah. I've not, like I said, I've not seen the replay or on board or anything yet of what happened with Albon. So it could have been traffic. Scott Barnes says, I picked Max to win, not pole, and come on Racing Point. An exciting Abu Dhabi race, peak 2020, says Christian. It would be, wouldn't it? Paul Perez, he's going to have to make his way in sixth to guarantee a victory, says Louis. Verstappen took it to the max to get pole, says Philip. Very good, Philip. Very good, Philip. I see what you did there. Lando beat Carlos 9-8, says Luke. Good point. Yes. So that's that one. That's that qualifying done. Was it 9? Yeah, it will be, yeah. I think the stat that I brought up earlier was a slightly... Oh, no, it was right. No, it's okay. Never mind. Just having a moment. So it was 9-8, yeah. So, is that... Did Norris win the quali battle last year? Because I seem to recall Abu Dhabi. Again, last year, we were down to whoever got the fastest time in that session was winning it. It was that close. Yeah, I try to remember now. I know one of them did. Yeah, Norris apparently. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. Yeah, we got to the final race last year with all that on the line, didn't we? So it's been a really close fight between Norris and Sainz in a lot of ways at McLaren. So I'm going to miss that. But I'm very much looking forward to see how that goes with Danny Rick next year. Real challenge for Norris, isn't it? Absolutely. So I'm just have a drink, and then we'll go through the order. So bear with me. I'll go quiet. I'm not deserting you. Don't worry. So Max Verstappen is on pole position for tomorrow's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix ahead of Valtteri Bottas and Lewis Hamilton. Like I say, 86 thousandths of a second, 8/100ths if you prefer, between the top three, all starting on the medium, so we've got a proper race tomorrow potentially. Very much ready for this one now. Lando Norris, a fantastic fourth place, big moment for McLaren in that battle for fourth in the constructors. If they can convert that into points, it's looking very, very good. Alex Albon, fifth place. Some saying in chat that he got caught in traffic. 3/10 off Verstappen in fifth place and just ahead of Carlos Sainz. A couple of tenths ahead of Carlos Sainz, to be fair. In sixth, 35.8 for Carlos. Daniel Kvyat, 7th in the AlphaTauri, again out qualifying Gasly, so a much stronger finish to the season for Kvyat, of course, is potentially, or probably, we've not had it officially confirmed, although, like I said in my preview the other day, it's been pretty clear from Helmut Marko that this is his last weekend, but officially we haven't heard. But Kvyat in 7th place for potentially his last race. Lance Stroll in 8th for Racing Point, really needed to... without maybe being too harsh on him, maybe needed to do a bit more today, given that he's carrying the baton for Racing Point in qualifying with Perez's penalty in that fight for third. Charles Leclerc is 9th, but he takes a 3-place grid drop. Will drop to 12th, which means Pierre Gasly will move into 9th place tomorrow, but was 10th today. 9/10 off pole, so not within a second of pole is pretty solid, actually. And to have less than a second covering the top 10 is always nice to see. 11th place for Esteban Ocon and 12th for Daniel Ricciardo. Disaster today for Renault. Really thought they'd do better than that. Big ask for them in that fight for third, but hey, it's been a weird year. It's been a weird year. It could still be Ferrari. Who knows? Mathematically, they're 41 points behind, and you never know with 2020, do you? But it's going to be a bit of an ask with Sebastian Vettel down in 13th place on a 36.6. One more to go, Seb. Nearly there, mate. 14th for Antonio Giovinazzi, out qualifying Kimi Raikkonen and winning the qualifying battle at Alfa Romeo. Sergio Perez didn't set a time in Q2. He qualified 15th and will drop to the back of the grid anyway because of engine penalty. 16th for Kimi Raikkonen on a 37.5. He went out in Q1. Magnussen also out in Q1 in his final race, 37.8. George Russell back to earth with a bump this weekend. 18th place for him on a 38.0. Pietro Fittipaldi, a 138.1 in 19th. And I think actually a big win for him. I know Nicholas Latifi had his spin at the final corner, which is why he didn't get his second run in, but huge credit to Fittipaldi nevertheless. He has out-qualified Latifi, so he starts 19th, or will start 18th actually, won't he? And Nicholas Latifi is 20th on a 138.4. So there you go. That is your grid for tomorrow, or at least your qualifying result. Obviously, there's penalties to come in as well. Like I say, Leclerc 3-place drop, Perez to the back of the field. There could be others too, who knows? But yeah, very, very much looking forward to that. I'm not saying had it been a Mercedes 1-2, it would have been boring, and I'm not one of those, Mercedes, as you know. But it's always nice to see somebody other than a Mercedes on pole because you know you're going to get a hell of a race. There's something going on up there. It's not just between those two and arguing over the radio because they want a different set of tyres to the other one. We know that Max Verstappen, nothing to lose, can really go for it. Can he still finish? Can he still finish second in the Drivers' Championship? I'm just going to have a look, which requires maths possibly. I'm sure he can mathematically, but I think it's highly unlikely. Let me just double check. So 205 and 189. So 16 between them. Is it 16 or is it 18? 16 between them. So he can still do it, but he's going to need to... He needs to finish second or higher, with Bottas being right down to tail end of points, probably not scoring. So it is possible. It is possible for Max Verstappen. So that's something else for him to fight for this weekend. Yeah. It's a big ask, isn't it? But hey, we can keep an eye on it. I'm sure it's 16 points. I'm sure it is. 205 minus 189. 16. Look. It's 16 or 18, okay? I'm live. I'm trying to do easy maths live. Is actually quite difficult. But anyway, Russell should have stayed, says Findlay. Just on that, actually, super quickly, I've seen a lot of people saying that, it's a shame Russell didn't get in that car. It would have been good to see what he could do, but obviously Hamilton's back, he's healthy, he's fit. That's good to see, he's all well. So, but it's his car at the end of the day, isn't it? So, it's as the minute he was well enough to be in it and was allowed to get in it, he was always going to be in it. So, there you go. But I get it. I'm just glad that he's well and we're going. It's kind of fitting as well. The world champion's there in the final race. But yeah, there you go. I'll not keep reiterating that one. Who is Netflix filming this weekend? We'll find out. Whoever crashes out in turn one. Yeah, I hope for an interesting race tomorrow too, Alexander. It's going to be. I think it's going to be good. Like I say, top three, all starting on the mediums. Lando Norris therefore might be nice and grippy off the line. Is he on the dirty side of the grid? Fourth place he will be, won't he? So, yeah, but a bit of grip with those soft tyres off the line might be able to get himself somewhere in the mix in that first couple of corners. So that might get a bit spicy, as Dan would say. But yeah, I think it's going to be good. Was Alex Albon on the mediums as well? I can't remember what tyre he set on the... I don't know. I can't remember, but Alex Albon will need to be up there. If he can get ahead of Norris... That's a good point, actually. If Alex Albon can get ahead of Norris, pretty much straight off the line in the race, or certainly on that first couple of laps, he gives Red Bull options to help. Soft tyre apparently for Alex Albon. Thank you guys. But yeah, that will give Red Bull options for tyres, won't it? For the pit stop strategy, they can get Albon up into fourth. They might be able to pull the trigger a little bit earlier on the Mercedes and just help Verstappen towards that win, which is what Alex needs to be doing there. So. That is what the second driver at Red Bull needs to be doing anyway, whoever it is. But yeah, that's an interesting one to look out for tomorrow. Carlos Sainz, I imagine, will be racing as well in sixth place. A lot on the line for McLaren, Racing Point and Renault, as I've said a few times in this stream already. And then you've got drivers out there. Danny Kvyat in seventh. He's got nothing to lose, has he? At all. Nothing to lose at all. Final race by the look of it. Who else? Seb Vettel will want to go out with some points at Ferrari, I'd imagine, as well. Perez will want to put on a great display for Racing Point and just remind them what they're losing next year. You got Magnussen's final race too, so he's going to really give it everything. Fittipaldi, nothing to lose back there in 19th. Probably not going to get points, bless him, unless something happens. But if he can get himself top 18, assuming there's no retirements, I think he'd be doing a good job. Not finishing last, but same as last weekend, just finishing the races is an achievement for him, given his lack of time to prepare. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, and hopefully we get a mega race tomorrow. I'm really hoping for that one, but I don't know. Apparently the Manchester Derby tonight, I didn't even know about that. Sorry, it's just come up on Sky. Completely forgot about that. Do I want to depress myself this evening? Maybe not. I might not bother watching that. I can't take the heartache. It's going to be too much to bear. The stress of Formula One is enough. I'll take a few of your questions, and normally I'd do a bit more reaction on this one, but I think given the fact it's the penultimate stream, we'll just take a couple of your questions before I disappear today. We'll go through the order again in a moment. I think that we're looking at a good race, like I say. A lot of things on the line, and it could be quite tense at times as well, but it's going to be good. Going to be good. Race pace was a 1:42 apparently was that for McLaren? I know McLaren were looking good, but it looks pretty much like the impetus was with Mercedes after those long runs on Friday, which isn't a surprise. I keep saying it's a Mercedes track, Abu Dhabi, isn't it? So fully expecting them to be the favourites tomorrow, but Max Verstappen on pole position just throws a curveball, doesn't it? And I'm looking forward to that fight into turn one. Should be great. They're just showing actually Alonso and his 2005 Renault championship winning car on Sky now. Have you seen the video from F1 for that one? Oh. I'm not going to get into the old bring back V10s argument, but my God, did that car sound good out on track, just in video. So imagine just being sat there or stood there watching it. It would have been absolutely fantastic. William 04, what does Albon need to do tomorrow, Sean? I'm hoping for him. I think, to be honest, as I've been saying for a while now, William, just keep it clean. And if he can he needs to be top four, really. That car is the second best car on the grid. Not his personally, but that Red Bull is the second best car on the grid. It should be up there in the top four, giving Red Bull options. But I think fourth place and keep himself out of trouble, and that would probably be enough for Red Bull to announce him. To be honest, I think he could spin out of turn one and retire at that point and he'd still be in the car. I don't know why I'm so adamant he will be in the car. I just don't feel like, it's only a gut feeling because that's all I can go off. I don't feel like they're going to drop him anyway, but if nothing else for his confidence, top four, he needs to be tomorrow. If there's a bit of bad luck, maybe he'll get away with a top 5 or 6, but I think he needs to be top 4 is what I would say on that one. So we'll see. We'll see. Ben Roberts, do you think getting rid of the Q2 decides your starting tyres would change much? I'd like to see it go, but the reason I'd like to see it go is I base it off Formula 2. So Formula 2 don't have that rule, and that means that people can start on any tyre they want, which really mixes up strategy. And that's how we end up with so many, obviously, different strategies in the race, and that gives us a lot more excitement. But that's, of course, based in a spec series where you're going to get excitement anyway. So it's maybe not a good gauge, but I think it's pretty useless, to be honest. If you've got cars like Mercedes and Red Bull that can get through on the medium tyre anyway, you might as well scrap that rule and just let anybody pick any tyre they want. And I think it just gives you options and makes things a bit more interesting. If you just think tomorrow now, let's say you've got a Mercedes front row lockout. Forget tomorrow. Just imagine we've got a Mercedes front row lockout. I know it's hard to imagine that. It doesn't happen very often. But just imagine for a second you got a Mercedes front row lockout and Max Verstappen's third on the medium tyre, and then he goes into the debrief and they go, do you know what? It's really grippy out there. Let's stick the softs on for the start tomorrow. He can get in the mix. It gives them different options, and I think that would just be, I prefer that. The Q2 tyre rule made sense when the field was closer. It doesn't make sense now. It just doesn't, so. I guess long story short, Ben, yes, I would like to see it go. Alex Shady says, should Ferrari have taken a penalty with Seb and put a new engine in? No, I don't think so. I wouldn't have. I think giving him every opportunity to have the best race he possibly can is the best bet. And if he starts 20th, he's probably going to end up about 17th. That car is not good, as we know. So power's not everything in Abu Dhabi, but with the long straights is a big part of it. So I think letting him qualify where he can is important. But I'm not 100% on this. And if this is true, it would be mega. But I believe Honda, if they do not take any engine penalties this weekend, it'll be the first time they've ever done that since they returned to Formula One, because they've not had any engine penalties in 2020. Now, unless I may have forgotten an engine penalty somewhere, but I do not recall Honda taking penalties this year. If I'd have told you that back in 2015, which was 2 years before I had the channel, but if I told you back in 2015 that was the case, you'd have told me I was drunk. There you go. I think that's correct. What was the gap between Albon and Verstappen in quali? That's from Brad Williams. The gap was 0.3 of a second, 0.325. So there you go. Didn't Kvyat have an engine penalty? It says Freeze 014. Albon got a penalty, says Dark Epic. So I might be wrong then. I just don't recall, for some reason, seeing the penalties for Honda. I'll have a look afterwards. I'm sure somebody will let me know in the comments afterwards or something, but I'll have a look afterwards, but I thought that was on the line. I just can't recall. I don't know. Do you think McLaren has a shot at third place, says Mario, in the constructors or the race, Mario? The race, no, unless there's some chaos ahead. Maybe if like a Hamilton or a Bottas or a Verstappen retires, they might have an opportunity. In the constructors, an hour ago, I was pretty confident Racing Point had got that wrapped up, but after that qualifying, they've got a great shot at third in the constructors now. Fourth place for Norris. If the results stayed as they are now, that'd be 12 points for Norris, 8 points for Sainz, so that's 20 points, and only 4 for Racing Point, so that'd be a 16-point swing. Would it? Yeah. Something like that. So they would finish third in the constructors. They've got a great shot at that tomorrow now, and that's what they need to secure. They need to secure that. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it, Mario. I think it's going to be great tomorrow. So much to keep an eye on. You'll probably find the race reaction will be more focused on what happened in the midfield than at the front, because there's just so much on the line there. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Tomorrow, apart from when the FIA were unsure if the engine was fitted without changes, that's a good point, yes. So apparently, there were no penalties for Hondas, just a little bit of confusion where they had to change an engine because of the... Was it Gasly? It was, wasn't it? Where they'd taken everything apart because they thought they had to do an engine change, and it turned out they didn't, and then they put it all back together, and the FIA said, no, we don't know what you've done to that. You need to take the penalty. So nothing for failures, I suppose, is the point. But that's incredible when you think about it for Honda. Wow. I mean, I never, ever believed that. Mad. And apparently Crofty said that they had no engine penalties this year, so they probably did. If Crofty's saying it, I'm joking. Bless him. Poor Crofty. Talk about fragrances this morning in practice. There you go. Hopefully DRS works this year in the race, unlike last year. Good point from Brad there again. I did cover that in the preview. Last year it was lap 18 before we got DRS enabled because the system crashed and race control disabled it because they couldn't track it. They couldn't track what cars were using and all that business. So those early stages of the race were actually old school overtakes, which I enjoy, which actually makes Bottas's progress pretty decent. A few people might say, well, hang on, lap 12, only up to 8th place in that car. That's not good enough. But on a track that's tricky to overtake on without any DRS in a car that's not very good at following, it's actually a pretty decent drive to that point. But yeah, hopefully all works okay. Hopefully everything works okay. Rince says mega race tomorrow for third place. I just think the race is going to be a good one. I'm determined, with everything crossed, that with everything we've seen this year and all the unpredictability, Abu Dhabi is going to be right up there as one of the best races of the season. What you can hear in the background is me currently clutching at straws. That's my hope. It's not awful, Abu Dhabi. When you look at the track on paper, it should be incredible. It just doesn't always work out like that. And I also think, random point to make, that a lot of the... If you want to call it hate, you can call it hate, but a lot of my negativity towards Abu Dhabi is also possibly because it's the last race of the season, and one, I don't think it should be, and two, because it's the last race, as a massive Formula One fan, like I say, for nearly 3 decades, it really bums me out when I know I've got a 3-month wait without Formula One. At least a 3-month wait. We thought we had a 3-month wait last year, didn't we? And it turned out to be about 7 or 8. So I think some of that is the case with Abu Dhabi, if I'm being honest. But yeah, it could be good. The track should work. It just doesn't. And I still think getting rid of that 5 and 6 chicane would make a difference. And as Alex says there, Brazil in. I agree. Brazil should be the finale, but obviously this year it can't be. But normally, I think it should be. Findlay saying, imagine if Sakir was the last race. Jonty said that to me in DMs the other day. Just imagine if this was the last race of the season. We'd go into the winter on such a hype, wouldn't we? But back... I've got a couple of questions, actually. MS says, do you think this poll is too late for Red Bull? And if they want to compete with Merc for a World Championship, then something needs to change in how they develop their car. I don't know about too late. I kind of get the point you're making now. It's no great surprise to see Red Bull finishing the season fairly strongly, because they tend to develop quite well in the season and close a gap, and then seem to have an edge in the latter stages, and we get all excited next year, don't we? I don't think it's too late, and I think they will be closer to Merc next year. But even now, I think Christian Horner says 60% of this year's car will get carried over to next year. So there's still 40% of variables in there, isn't there? In many ways, but I think... I would be very, very surprised if Mercedes don't win the titles next year again, both of them. Probably Hamilton for the drivers and the constructors. But I do think Red Bull will be closer, and I think this is a sign of progress and them getting closer. But it is a massive surprise. It is a massive surprise for me to see them on pole. Like Frankie just said there, Verstappen's pole, very unexpected. So there you go. Mario just saying there, sadly Merck stopped upgrading early, didn't they? I think they said something along those lines, didn't they? They sort of slowed down on that, but expect them to be the team to beat next year. Just expect them to be the team to beat next year. Again, another bold prediction courtesy of Sean from the F1 Word. Mercedes will be the favourites next season. Right. Let's have another run through the order, and then we'll wrap it up for the qualifying watch along. So Max Verstappen on pole position. Big surprise. 2.5 hundredths of a second, 0.025 clear of Valtteri Bottas. Lewis Hamilton in third place, top 3 on the medium tyres. Lando Norris fourth and Alex Albon fifth, both on the soft tyres. 6th for Carlos Sainz, 7th for Daniel Kvyat, 8th for Lance Stroll. Charles Leclerc qualified 9th, will start 12th with that 3-place grid drop. Pierre Gasly in 10th will obviously prepare it to 9th. Ocon 11th will go up to 10th, and Ricciardo 12th will go up to 11th. Sebastian Vettel 13th and Antonio Giovinazzi in 14th place. Perez ended up 15th, didn't set a time in Q2, will drop to the back of the grid. That'll promote Raikkonen at 1 place, he qualified 16th. Magnussen also at 1 place, but he qualified 17th. Russell qualified 18th, Fittipaldi 19th, and Nicholas Latifi 20th place. Right, before I go, your top 3 for tomorrow, just 3 initials or 3 surnames, whatever you want to do. I'll read a few out, and then we'll wrap it up for today. My predictions for tomorrow: Latifi, Fittipaldi, Magnussen. It's not really. That'd be a hell of a race, wouldn't it, if that happened? But I think Red Bull need Albon up there in 4th to mix up strategy. Otherwise, Mercedes have got Verstappen there for the taking in terms of strategy, in my opinion. Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas. I'm gonna say Lewis will still win it. There's nothing, but they're basically equal in qualifying, aren't they? Really, 8 hundredths of a second, nothing between them really. So I'm gonna say Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, but it'll be a hell of a race to get there. Dreamland, Vettel wins it from Magnussen and Kvyat. Would be Dreamland. Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas is what I'm going with. So what have we got? Matt G says, I love Latifi. We all do, really. Panos says Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen. Safe Plum's gone with Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen. Hugo's gone with Verstappen, Hamilton, Norris. MRHG, I really think Hamilton will be world champion this year. Hey Ray says Hamilton, Verstappen, Perez. Albon, Verstappen, and Hamilton for William. Sorry, chat just froze for a second. There we go. Rusty Gusty, Verstappen, Bottas, and Norris. Ujo says Verstappen, Hamilton, Norris. Mario, Verstappen, Hamilton, Sainz. Cam's gone with Hamilton, Verstappen, and Bottas. Charles has gone Russell, Latifi, Van Dorn. Oh, stuff. Scroll down a little bit more. Scott says Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas. Villager says Hamilton, Verstappen, Norris. A couple of people go for Norris there, interestingly. Catherine says Hamilton, Verstappen, and Bottas. Rince, Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas. Ben, Verstappen, Hamilton, Bottas. I think we're all pretty much in agreement on the top three here, although Molly has said that Verstappen sights in Fiat. Albon podium, mark my words, says Alex. I hope so. I'd like to see him on the podium final race. MRHG says Van Dorn is still number one. It's true. Philip says Verstappen, sights and Bottas. Couple more, or three more we'll go with. So Dan Philpott says Russell, Fittipaldi and Magnussen. Villager says Hulkenberg, Kubica and Wehrlein. Why not? Sorry. I always mess this up. Unidentifiable Smurf says Bottas, Hamilton and Verstappen. But we'll round it up there. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Please do drop a like if you haven't already before you disappear. Would be massively appreciated. And again, thank you to Victor Delta Sierra Aviation for your contribution a little bit earlier in the stream. That is it for this one, though. I will be back tomorrow with Jonty for the final race reaction of the season. I won't cry, I promise. I'm fine. Final race reaction of the season, and then it's into whatever the winter content will be. It'll either start next week or it'll be January. It depends what I decide to do. I might take the rest of December off. We'll see. I'll have a ponder on that one. But yeah, race reaction tomorrow. In the meantime, don't forget that you can, of course, follow me over on social media, and all of the links for that are in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean. This has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.